Welcome back to Mike and Gen Xing around the world.
Through the
Through
world.
the world. God bless. I can never get that right.
I know.
One day.
Eh.
My name is Mike.
I'm Jen.
Married couple. It's coming up
Gen
17.
Xers.
Gen Xers coming up on 17 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about just different topics. Today, this one, music. I want to talk about music.
Okay, what about it?
I want to
I
talk.
love music.
You do love music.
Mm-hmm. Today's music.
Today's music's rough.
Yeah.
So where my wife is a huge Prince fan.
Huge.
Prince fan. I never got a
But I
chance to see
like
Prince in
everything.
concert.
Oh.
My wife got a chance to see him in concert.
In real life concert. I'm gonna tell you what I cried. I there was something I cried. It was an experience.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just watching somebody do something they love. Like I've seen John Mayer in concert, and to
Yeah.
watch that man play guitar, he's making love to that guitar. Like it's awe inspiring. But Prince, that was a whole another level of awesome. I don't even know if that could ever happen again. I truly he there was a point when his stage was like almost like an S. It was so cool. And there was one point where, first of all, when the little man came up for like Purple Rain, and sweet Lord in heaven, that is just something that's a core memory that it's unbelievable. But he had one point where, during concerts, they usually have where they have each person that plays their instrument, they
Yep. They
kind
play
of like,
the little solo.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that. But then he did it every instrument and did it well.
Yeah.
And the man was just a performer. I mean, he was. There's not going to be another like the purple one. And he died the day before my birthday. That was heartbreaking.
Did he really? I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Hmm.
Was that another one that was a little bit suspicious? Was he another one like a Michael Jackson
They
type
said
thing?
it
It's a
was an
little bit.
accidental overdose,
Yeah.
and but behind closed doors, you never know. You only know what they want you to know, and as we're finding out with the media, we only know so
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do I think that he is the best ever? I think
No,
that there'll never be another like him. I think for what he did and for the decades that he stayed in and stayed relevant
mm-hmm.
and all the careers that he helped
He
make.
did.
And he was a quiet kind of guy. He really loved his personal life. You really didn't know much about his personal life, but he did so much. He stayed in Minnesota where he was
He
from,
did.
and he really did a lot for that community. There's stories that say that, you would be at some corner bar somewhere and there would be Prince. And people would be like, hey. And he'd be like, hey. And just, he loved his hometown.
He did. Yeah, he stayed there. I mean, I believe even when he died in his home, and it was up in Minneapolis.
Hmm.
So I mean, or not Minneapolis, but Minnesota.
But another great one for me, but again, different genre, is like a Garth Brooks.
Fantastic.
That man, I've seen him now twice in concert. You've seen him once
I
with
did.
me. The first time I went was with
Mhm.
girlfriends when we lived in the Chicagoland area.
Mhm.
We have now since woken up and moved down to South Carolina.
South Carolina.
We've been here for 3 years, and we absolutely, hands down, best move we made.
When we pulled out of Illinois when we were moving, I put up two middle fingers to the sign as soon as we passed the Indiana Illinois border and said, "I'm never coming back.
And we will not.
I will never put another foot in that state."
Mm-mm. No, no, thank you.
That's personal choice,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a fact.
Yes.
Uh,
We're not really going to be one into politics.
No.
However,
It's just not safe.
politics played a role because of.
It has become an unsafe environment, and that state, it's very hard to defend yourself. So
We'll stay down here. We're happier here, but
we're
that's not
much
even
happier.
neither here nor there.
Yep. Garth Brooks.
Yes, Garth Brooks,
So good in concert.
a showman, a
Unbelievable.
true showman. Now, he does not write the majority of his songs. I don't know if he collaborates in the writing of them, but he does have writers that he works with. But
Sure.
he knows so much. Like, he is a music buff himself. He's married to the beautiful Trisha Yearwood.
Yep.
Voice like an angel, and
Brought
they
her out during the concert.
Yeah,
That was
truly,
awesome.
truly a wonderful love story. I mean, I think it happened when he was married, but I'm not
It is now a fantastic love story.
Yes, they really truly are happy.
So I think we got to look at it as they were meant to be together. So
Correct.
he just wasn't married to the right woman and
Hmm.
ended up finding the right woman.
Yes, for
It
sure.
happens. It does happen. I
It
mean,
does happen.
you were married prior. I was married prior. We weren't married to the right people.
Correct. But
Now we
yeah.
are.
Yes.
For now. I believe it's forever. 100%.
But then why did you say for now?
Just making sure you're paying attention.
I always pay attention.
So Garth Brooks,
Amazing.
I believe that concert was 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was really cool. He actually was recording it for an Amazon
He was.
special or something, and we had no idea. We were in Charlotte, and it was really a badass concert, and it was like a bazillion degrees. That poor man was sweating so much. I felt so bad. We were sweating so much. I can only like
Now,
buckets.
he chose to wear jeans, long sleeves. I'm sure he had the option to go to short sleeve, but he didn't. And that man, I don't know how old he is, but he had to have run.
Alex.
He had to have run 5 to 8 miles during this show.
Yeah.
Just that's how big the stage was, and he wanted
Just
to
in
make
circles.
sure
He wanted to make sure everybody.
saw him.
Yeah.
And it was we saw that up at the Carolina Stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and it just nothing but great things.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about the show, though, because this just never happens, Garth Brooks, one of the biggest stars of all time, comes out and says one of the most fun things for him to do is to sing other people's songs. He comes out and sings Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Fishing in the dark.
And that song is very, why is that song special to you?
So when we were younger, I moved from the town. Mike and I used to know each other. Well, we've known each other since we were 11, but I moved away when our sophomore year,
Yep.
mid sophomore year, and I moved to a town that was 30 minutes away. But this
Back then,
that was a whole
different
nother
state.
world
Yeah.
because there was no cell phones, there was no anything like that. So it was like, and we didn't drive at that point, because we were still too young. So basically, the way I look at it is they moved me from like a nicer town to like the footloose town. There was like
All right.
198 kids in my graduating class, and in like Zurich, how many were in our class?
We had over 400.
Yeah, so I mean, if that gives you an indication, it was double. So it was pretty small.
Yep.
And country was really big there, and it was really not big in like Zurich at all.
No.
Like not at all. So I'm like, really? And Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Fishing in the Dark
Fishing
was
in the Dark.
actually like the one that kind of got me. That was like the theme song.
Yeah, it was like the theme song of that new town.
Yeah, and
So for him to play that, I mean,
it was cool. It
Yeah.
was cool for me.
yeah. So
And-
that was a good one.
And I got him hooked on Fishing in the Dark. So
She
yeah.
did, and I almost know all the words now. And it's
Mhm.
only been like 17 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just don't hear it enough. It's a great song, and
Mhm.
it's one of those that probably should have been redone. But I don't
But
know
no,
if they could
no,
make
you
it.
shouldn't have redone it.
I'm not saying
It
no,
should re-released. Re-released would be
re-release
better.
be good.
Yeah.
But if they released the Garth version that he did in that concert, it would go to number one. It was so good.
Mhm.
It was so good.
Yeah.
What's another good concert that you've seen?
Creed. We were just talking
Creed. That's right.
about
They're coming
Creed.
back to town.
Creed was from the '90s, and I saw them in the '90s in their heyday before Scott Stapp had fun with.
He enjoyed the
Partying
finer
lifestyle.
stuff. I
Yeah,
guess you could say that.
But
He liked to
amazing
hang out with
concert.
Kid Rock.
Yeah, amazing concert.
Mhm.
He was him and Three Doors Down and another band called Black Pearl, which I really don't know what they've done, but
Right.
I know Three Doors Down is touring with them again.
That's cool.
And I would have loved to have seen them, but what they're charging for the concert tickets is
It
kind
seems
of
a little high.
for a '90s band coming around, and they're playing pretty big venues too.
They are. I was
You
actually
know?
surprised when you said that they were playing the Charlotte Stadium. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that might be a little tough for them to sell out, but maybe they will.
Mhm.
And I could be surprised.
But crazy fun fact, they're playing in a place called Simpsonville, South Carolina, one night, and it's $78 for the lowest ticket. And the next night, they're playing in Charlotte, and it's $108 for the lowest ticket. And
Same distance from the stage. There's just more money in Charlotte.
yeah,
That's what I believe.
I think it's ridiculous. I think there should be flat fees. I know Garth likes to do that, but then you have that secondary market,
Yep.
but that's a whole nother situation. But we're talking about great concerts. I've seen John Mayer. I referenced him a little bit ago.
Mhm.
Maroon 5 actually opened for John Mayer.
Really?
Yeah, I
Right.
saw him at Summerfest.
Okay.
where you actually pay for the concert.
Yep. Summerfest.
Yeah, Summerfest in
Ooh,
Milwaukee. If you live anywhere in that area, if you're
go.
traveling, you've got to go. It happens in August, I believe, or maybe July.
It's July.
July.
It's end of June
And
and
it
through July.
is
Yep.
you pay at the time now it's
At the
like
time, it was 15 bucks to get
$15 to get
in,
in,
and it
and you
had like
saw
12
so many
stages.
free concerts.
It was
It was
awesome.
unbelievable. That actually is where I fell in love with OAR.
OAR. That's where I
OAR, for those of you that don't know OAR, go play some of their music. Their
hmm
live version, anytime now, is a two. Well, I'm aging myself. It's a two CD, but you
It's a
can.
double album.
It's a double album, but you can obviously stream it. Hey Girl is my jam.
Ultimate favorite.
That is my ultimate favorite. And there's
hmm
a line in there that I was divorced at the time, and it really resonated with me because it was talking about how much he loved her. And even though his friends thought she was crazy, he didn't care because he loved her. And
Yep.
in actuality, it really shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. But when he was talking about his love for her, he was saying, just to be in the air that she breathed. And I'm like, I want to love like that. I want somebody just to want to be in the air that I breathe,
Yep.
just to be by me. And you know, I love lyrics. I love songs that tell stories. I think that's why I really enjoy country music
Yeah.
because they tell a story. I don't like this, obviously catchy music and blah 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 blah, but that's not to me that's not good music. That's fun music when you're partying and dancing, but I love music that tells stories. Fun music, slow music, all of it. I'm more of a
You're a wordsmith.
yes.
Let's put it
I
that way.
love words. Like I love the Eagles. I love the old school music. I love Frank Sinatra. I mean,
You got to see the Eagles.
I did. I
Was that one of
did.
your first concerts?
It was my first concert.
First concert.
Very, very first concert. It was our Hell Freezes Over tour. It was our senior year.
Okay.
I had bought my mom tickets for Mother's Day, and it was at Alpine Valley, and
Okay.
Melissa Etheridge opened.
Wow.
And yeah, it was something else. It was amazing.
Yeah.
My mom had always loved the Eagles, and so for Mother's Day, like I said, I bought her the tickets, and I think I paid $40 for the lawn tickets. And
Wouldn't that be amazing now to be able to see a concert for 40 bucks?
do you know the lawn tickets for the Creed concert were more expensive than
I believe it.
seating?
I believe
That
it.
was I was like anyway.
I think that's the way for when Buffett. I think Buffett was more expensive to be in the lawn because it's Buffett.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, we have a story about Buffett.
Buffett's a good time. I think.
Except when somebody leaves you there with,
I was there
but
physically.
anyway, we'll get to that. But the Eagles, yeah, that was something else. I mean, their lyrics, they tell stories. It's just, and then to find out why they wrote these songs and the stories behind them, and it's just goosebumps. Like, mm, Glenn Fry, my favorite Eagle, he passed as well. Um, he passed the same year my mom passed, or shortly right
Really?
around. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were together, and every year on my birthday, my mom would sing me "Best of My Love." She said I was always the best of her love by the Eagles, and so that song
I've
it's
heard that
been
singing.
it's been really hard for me to listen to since she's passed.
Yeah, but your mom couldn't sing.
Oh no,
It was brutal.
yeah, but
But
she
the
meant
sentiment,
well.
the sentiment was there.
My oldest son was born back in the day. My oldest will be 28 next month. Ugh. Uh, you could bring CDs or VCR tapes, or whatever you wanted during labor. And they recommended it, to listen to songs that you like. So they put it in there, and he was born to the Eagles, and he consequently came out to "Best of My Love."
It's a better story to say he was born to it than created by or created during.
He was not. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's okay.
No, no, no.
So my first concert, and I don't
Yes.
even know if you know this. Collective Soul opened
Okay.
for the Cranberries.
Oh Lord.
So
I
good.
don't. I'm not a fan of the Cranberries. It's just not my thing.
And that's okay. I do enjoy their music. One of the other first ones I saw was Van Halen.
Okay, so Van Halen is my
hmm
jam. Van Halen, when I was a little girl, I've been a music buff since I was teeny tiny. And the first three records I bought
hmm
were Michael Jackson, Off the Wall,
Okay.
Van Halen 1984,
Okay.
and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good mix.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I was like 5.
My I believe when my first Van Halen experience with the OU 812 album,
Right.
right?
Yeah, you're
And
not a really big fan of their old stuff. You're
I
more of a Sammy
I
Hagar.
am for sure a Sammy Hagar over David Lee Roth.
Okay.
And I will scream that to the rooftops because David Lee Roth, when they even brought him back, he was just kind of a jerk. I mean, I believe when he came back, it kind of showed why he was gone in the first place.
Yeah, but their music had more bite then, though. When he was with the
I,
band, I'm sorry, but you can't jump. Like it was a different band. Yes, it was
I
Van
mean, it was
Halen,
different.
but it was a
Mhm.
different band. It truly was like two different bands.
I agree.
I like them both.
I enjoy the sound better with Hagar, and it could be because of the less antics, but I enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
the Balance album to me is so good. It's one of their later ones, and I loved
Don't
it.
get me wrong, they have fantastic music both ways, but I also enjoy them both ways.
Yes.
I really do. But I think they had more bite as Van Halen with David Lee Roth.
And that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying one is better. I'm just saying that the music was different.
It's just a preference.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it funny when people they get animated and they argue like, well, they did this, this, and this, and this, and it's okay. The three band members, both Roth or not the both
Van Halen brothers,
Van Halen
Alex
brothers
and Eddie,
and then Mike the bassist, they didn't change.
Well, Eddie's since passed, but his
Eddie
son
has passed.
Wilking has taken over.
He has,
yes,
and he's kept it alive.
Yes.
And that's fantastic.
Mhm.
And he's really good in his own right. If
Mhm.
you've ever watched him play, he's really good.
But could you imagine? He had the best teacher
That is true.
as his dad.
That is helpful.
And I'm sorry, but I truly believe talent is passed down. I really do, and I believe that some people just are given gifts, and they go through generations. Sometimes there's a one-off, but
yeah.
I mean, but you got to look. Alex and Eddie brothers. Look at the Kelsey brothers.
Hey,
I
no doubt. And to me, I could always tell when Van Halen was on because Alex is a cymbal-heavy drummer,
Mhm.
and if you hear it, the
but
guy's
Eddie
fantastic.
with the guitar.
He was so good. Now I heard a story that during his solos in concert, he would turn around because he didn't want people to see what he was doing and how he was playing. So he didn't want to give away any of his own secrets.
That's kind of cool.
That is super cool.
Or maybe they didn't want to see his face. Kind of like I said, when I saw John Mayer, I mean, that man was like...
contorted like that.
Yeah, seriously. It was like...
It was painting
he was
him.
No, he was feeling every bit of it. Like, it was like he was making love to that guitar. It was, again, awe-inspiring to see.
That's cool.
And me as a music lover, like, to see somebody really just love their craft is... It's kind of badass.
Now, I was able to see. Now, this would be a concert you would have hated to go to. It was up in Milwaukee. It was actually at the Summerfest grounds at the festival, whatever. And it was Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ice Cube.
I have
Montel
no
Jordan.
idea what they're saying. Montel Jordan's cool.
Montel Jordan was cool.
Is he still alive?
He is still alive.
Okay.
He's tall.
This
But it was a
how
festival
we
back.
do it.
It was a festival back in the day,
Mhm.
and it was It was an all day thing.
Mhm.
So by the time Bone Thugs was the ones headlining it. So after an all day of listening to rap music and just having a good time.
Don't they have like the fastest recorded rap like ever?
So they
Or
don't.
one of them?
Twista does. He's from Chicago, but in terms of general, I mean, that's Bone Thugs' thing. It's
I mean, it's like
yeah, they do that, and that's how they go. Now, actually, I think Eminem has now taken that over with Rap God, and
He is a rap god. I truly, hands down, vote him as the absolute best of all time. He blows people out of the water. White, black, orange,
Yeah, it doesn't
purple, yellow. I don't care what you are. Everybody has said that.
I would go see Eminem in concert.
Hands down.
I would absolutely do so.
100%.
I would-
Does he
I-
even...
I don't even know if he tours anymore. He doesn't really have to, but I believe he's coming out with a new album. Or if he isn't coming out with one, he just released one.
I mean, 8 Mile. Have you seen that movie? That was a fantastic movie.
So
I
good.
mean,
So good.
and
could watch
the
that movie all
guy,
the time.
he's actually a really pretty great guy too. I
Mhm.
mean, he had one daughter of his own,
Yep.
and then he adopted his nieces.
Did he?
Not even, I don't even know if they were his. I think they may have been his wife's at the time's nieces. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he's adopted and raised them as his own.
That's
and
awesome.
anybody who can do that, anybody who can raise
their
somebody
home,
else's
open their home and all
children,
that stuff. Yeah, that's-
stepdad here,
Yep.
as their own and love them as their own.
Mhm.
It's off.
I love them as my own, and they frustrate me as my own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how kids are.
Mm-hmm. Kids,
They're beautiful
they're wonderful.
at times.
Till they're not.
Till they're not. Any other concerts that you've been to that have stood out? Now, for me, I've been to 3 Motley Crue shows.
I've been to one
Big,
with him,
big
and
Motley Crue fan.
we went to, it was Motley Crue and Aerosmith.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith by far blew them out of the water.
It was a horrible show as it was. It
Aerosmith
was just
blew
bad.
them out of the water.
They did,
The
and-
only problem with Aerosmith was they played Dream On for like 75 and a half minutes. And
That was
it
so long.
just, I'm like, you guys have so many other great songs you can play, but it was just that,
They had like a 55-minute set, and I believe they played 6 songs.
I don't even know if it was that many, because I'm convinced like the majority of it was Dream On.
Yeah,
And it was like,
it just didn't stop.
no.
And then Motley Crue came out.
And Vince Neil sang
Just can't sing.
no every other half word. Now, however, I have to say that we were at Alpine again, and we were
Okay.
in lawn seats, and your brother was with us.
Oh, good Lord.
And my brother-in-law loved him, but he enjoyed sitting the majority of the time.
He did.
However,
There was one part he got
when Motley Crue had Girls, they had these cages,
up. Mhm.
and they had girls, and that brought my brother-in-law to his feet.
Brought him up.
Boom.
He was sharing that point.
He was all in, but at that, I was quite disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Vince
was too.
Neil, like,
That was
it's-
not a good one.
you would think they would have a voiceover at that point, because it was.
It was rough.
Yeah, it really was.
Now,
rough.
when they did their first comeback, and I was fairly close to that. That was awesome.
But when is a point where they need to
think it was a
stop
Carnival
making
of
the
Sins
comebacks? Like, I have
So-
to say that like when the Eagles, when they came back, they were fantastic. They even re-recorded it. I mean, these men, like, amazing. I don't know if Vince Neil did way too much enjoying adult things, and that really affected him, or he really just didn't have the pipes to begin with, or sing wrong.
Oh no, he could sing.
Because that
Back in the day,
happens.
he could
I mean,
absolutely
he
sing.
could sing, but again,
It's a long career though. I mean,
but
they're old
you
now.
mean
I
you're
they're
telling me
older.
the Eagles are way older?
It's a little bit.
and if you wanna
it's
talk
a little
about
bit different
old,
kind of singing though.
but baby,
in my opinion,
bologna sausage,
singing
because
heavy
in that
metal
same concert,
versus singing what the Eagles sing.
the
it's just-
Aerosmith was right there, and
Steven
Steven Tyler blew
is
them
ju-
out of
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
water.
Steven Tyler is just a different animal. He's just bigger,
But so
better,
you cannot
better,
blame
stronger.
age, and I'm sure
I'm not
he
saying
partied
you
too.
blame. I'm not
I
saying
think
you
it's-
blame
Vince Neil
age.
wasn't that good to begin.
He was, and I will stand by that. Vince Neil was that good, but I will also.
The music was great, but I don't think his voice was that good.
If you go back and listen to those albums, the Dr. Feelgood album is so good.
But I think
not even my
studio
favorite
has a lot
album.
to do with it.
Hmm?
Studio probably has a
He
lot
does,
to do with
but they
it.
toured it. I mean, they toured that for 2 years,
And they still
and
have
it was
sound
so
equipment.
good, so good. Vince Neil-
I love Motley Crue. I am just saying Vince
He's-
Neil's vocals are not on par
With where they are, no.
90% of the other singers that are out there.
after 40 years, Steven Tyler is still really good. I have no idea how.
So are the Eagles.
But they don't sing the same. It's not as screaming. It's more. To
He
me,
didn't
it's.
scream, he sang. But
I just think it's.
we can agree to disagree.
Absolutely, and that's the best part.
Yes. That's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Now we did have the chance. This right when we moved down to South Carolina, we
Yeah.
had the unbelievable opportunity.
So, funny story. I know who you're going. And where
You
are
go
you
with
going?
it. You know where I'm going.
Lee Bryce.
Lee Bryce.
Lee Bryce. Now we're in South Carolina,
Mhm.
and we are in the Midlands.
Yes.
And that is, Columbia is the capital of the state, and we're about 20 minutes to a half an hour north of there. And about 30 minutes east of us is a town called Sumter.
Sumter.
And lo and behold, this country singer, Lee Bryce, if you don't know who he is, his music is amazing.
So good.
He's from there. And
Mhm.
I had no idea who he was until somebody that I knew was singing the song, "There's a Rumor Going Round."
Yep.
And I'm like, God, that's catchy.
Mhm.
And I heard it on the radio, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. So
Yeah.
he came back a couple years ago, and
Well, actually, then
but your
my
song
mowing
is
song.
yeah. You have a mowing song. It's one of them girls.
Yeah,
And
Lee
it
Bryce.
is-
And I had
yeah.
no idea it was Lee Bryce. Like, I loved him at singing Rumors, but I had no idea this song, One of Them Girls, was Lee Bryce. And
So he came back 2 years ago, and he put on a concert, and it wasn't
in his hometown.
wasn't at a concert arena. It wasn't anywhere. It was on at the
His high school football field,
Yep, and he
Patriot Park.
at Patriot Park.
He got
and,
the key to the city that day.
Yep, and then he put a big stage up there, Everybody paid $40. Everybody paid the same amount. Brought your own chairs. They had a bunch of
Unless
food
you wanted the
trucks.
VIP parking.
Yeah, but and you got to see Lee Bryce. His brother
Louis
Lewis
Bryce.
opened for him.
Yeah, he's actually releasing some new music. He's
Yeah,
great too.
he's really good. And that was
Musical families.
one of those shows where it's you don't know if you're going to get an opportunity like that again.
Mm-mm.
I mean, $40 sitting in your own chair watching a top level talent and just do what he loves. And we actually ended up leaving because after his set, and we were all wired up.
He actually brought the guys that they
His
started
original
with.
band.
Yeah, and
we
they
would
kind of
listen
just
to that.
jammed
Yeah,
out
it
and
was
whatever.
cool.
But we're kind of beat the traffic, and we've got kids, and but we actually took our son Jake for his birthday, March
We did.
31st.
Him and his girlfriend.
And yeah, it was.
God, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a really great time. It was really a great time. You know, concerts to me, not only are you getting to see these legends, but you're also making these awesome memories. I mean, look at that. Look at us
Yeah.
talking about it. You're still reliving that concert.
I love that concert.
And reminiscing.
One
Like
of my favorite.
those really, I think, resonate as core memories, good or bad.
Yeah, they really do.
But
I got another one though.
hmm,
I got another great one.
hmm.
So back in the day, little known band. Very few people knew about them. I was a big fan, and they came to our town. Band was Seven Mary 3, right? We took our oldest, who at that point he might have been 15 or 16 at the time.
Alex, yeah.
If you don't know anything about Seven Mary 3, they had some Cumbersome, Water's Edge, just really good. It's a different kind of
And
vibe.
they were
different-
in
and
Podunk,
they were
Round
playing
Lake Park, Illinois.
in a train station parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? For some, and no idea why. It wasn't a festival, wasn't
No.
anything. They were just there. Our son went up, ended up getting. Did he get the playlist?
Yeah, he got the playlist. They
And
autographed
they
it for him.
autographed it for him, and we were within
Guitar pick.
10, 15 feet this entire concert.
And we're sitting there going,
We're like, what is going on?
is this really happening?
This is a band.
I mean, nobody had
They're
any
all over
idea.
the radio.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in this, and just another one of those experiences, just like,
It was badass. It was like a private concert. It was
basically
so
was
cool.
a private concert.
Yeah.
So that's another one. That's another strong one for me.
Alex actually has a history of getting playlists.
He did. He got an
They
OAR
went.
one.
My boys know I loved OAR,
Mhm.
and they went to Summerfest and actually heard OAR, and they then fell in love the same way I did,
Yeah.
seeing them live in concert. And they got me the playlist. They played the autographed playlist. They stood in line, I think, for like 2.5 hours to get that for me.
Yeah, he did.
And it was pretty badass. And unfortunately, that was lost in a move, and that truly makes me sad. But what more importantly was my boys got to experience that
Yes.
same thing, and
Mhm.
they felt the same way. Like, it kind of makes me teary because it's pretty cool. It's really cool. And I think my music, my love of music, I'm fortunate how my love of music was shaped. It was shaped by my family.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she loved the old stuff, the Frank Sinatras and things like that. So I listened to all that with her, and truly still to this day love it. My older kids love it. But my aunts, my mom was the oldest of 4 girls. She had me 4 months after she turned 16. So they're very young, and she had 3 sisters. And her and her youngest sister were 8 years apart, and me and my aunt, the youngest sister, are 8 years apart. So I was almost like a littler sister. And they shaped my music love and taste
They did.
too.
You talk about that. You talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm. You know, my aunt Cheryl, Elizabeth's mom, is really, she started my love of Prince. Like, she had a purple phase. Makeup. Oh yeah, everything. My aunt Debbie. Well, my aunt Debbie, she's Bread and 70s band. It's really named Bread.
Wow.
Captain Hook, Player, Baby Come Back.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe the song Just When I Needed You Most, Gary Van Warmer, I think is his name. She used to rock me to sleep and sing that to me. Yeah. I mean, I'm a total music nerd.
Do you remember the first cassette tape you purchased? I remember mine. I was at my grandma's house.
I don't remember the first cassette tape. I just remember my first record.
So vividly. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. And I bought it at my grandma's house, right? And she didn't have a stereo. What she had was one of those old school, like,
Tape players.
Yes. And I played it. And she heard the first song and made me turn it off. So I had to wait for 2 days till I went home
Yeah, so
to play it because my grandma did not like Guns N' Roses and didn't want me listening to it. So I bought it at a Sam Goody's or a Musicland. I think it was actually Musicland. And didn't even get a chance to listen to it for 2 days. And now that was pretty heartbreaking.
So I bought mine in Lake Zurich, and back in the day, in the 80s when we grew up, like we went everywhere, and like our parents had no idea. There was no cell phones, there was no tracking, there was no anything.
That's right.
And we were just home by a lot of time, and they really had no idea where you were. But I went and I bought it, and it was explicit, but
Oh yeah.
whoever let me buy it anyways. And everything was fine and dandy until my mom heard "Get in the Ring."
That's a good song. That was on Use Your Illusion, though. That was on Use Your Illusion.
Oh, that's what it was. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I was more of like a New Kids on the Block, Bon Jovi.
And
I was in love with Joey McIntyre. I was going to marry him. I'm pretty sure I may have kissed a poster or two on my wall.
Just one or two?
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you compare New Kids in the Block and John Bon Jovi in the same statement.
No, they were both on my wall, like
I have
next
no doubt.
to each other, out of the Teen Beat magazines and, Bop, I believe.
Bop.
Is Bop.
Me and my neighbor used to put on concerts. We used to lip sync and air guitar.
You and your neighbor, Steve Bangman?
Yeah, your ex-boyfriend back in the day.
So, funny story. I had dated his neighbor and best friend, and the only time my husband has ever been in a physical altercation in his entire life.
2 of them. Won one, lost one. And imagine that. And we're married. And still just no reason for me to fight again because why? That would hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hit.
Bruises.
Any other good memories from music? There's really just that core memory. I have a good one, though.
What?
I actually have 2 OAR stories.
Okay.
So back in the day, prior to you, I was at my previous wife.
He told me he hated OAR.
We went to Summerfest again, and OAR was playing. And my ex-wife at the time wanted to watch OAR, and at that time, I didn't. So I actually left her and went over to watch live. Mm-hmm. I like the band live, whatever.
Lightning crash.
Yes, but my favorite song actually it's called White Discussion. It's a very little known song, but it has one of the best drum sequences ever.
In your opinion?
Ever.
Okay.
And that is absolutely 100% my opinion. But I used to put that as loud as I could, and it was so good.
Did you play that like you do the live version of In the Air Tonight?
No, you do not.
No.
Because it's not that
because
kind,
this
it's
guy,
not that kind of...
This guy, In the Air Tonight, he sweats.
Oh, I have another third story about that song, or that as well. But then, my wife and I, we went to Summerfest. Wife. No. Because that story's over. Because because it was my ex-wife, I didn't even want to see OAR. My wife now, we went purposely to go see OAR. And we had a little fun. We found at Summerfest, they have one bar that sells hard liquor, and the rest of them are beer.
I didn't drink beer.
We
don't drink any longer, but...
No, we don't do that anymore. But I give her credit.
I do every once in a while.
So we went to go see OAR. They were on a side stage. So you paid $15 to get in, and you get 12 stages, and they're on a side stage. And we just keep walking up and walking up and walking up. We're about 15 feet away from the band. And while they're going on and doing all this.
And it's hot, and it's the summer.
It is hot. And my wife, bless her heart. Have you ever heard the term puke and rally? Rock star. I mean, you couldn't even tell that
I had to puke. Let me take this one.
Go for it.
I had to puke, and I'm a puker. I am a puker, but
happens.
I do not let that ruin my party. And I knew I had to puke, and I looked at him because you start to salivate a lot. So I'm like, and he's like, okay. And I'm trying to get to garbage cans, and there are assholes everywhere. Like, and they would not part in the seas for me to get to the garbage can. So I'm like, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. Didn't make it in time. Had my hand in front of my mouth, and we go through.
Gone.
And well, got a little bit of a mess. So I went into the bathroom, and I kind of did a little Jesus bath. Just clean myself up, wipe myself down, and I didn't get anything, thankfully, on my clothing.
Not one thing.
And I even had my Louis Vuitton crossbody, didn't even get anything on the strap, thank God, and went back out there and partied like a damn rock star.
You know what saved us that night, though? The dude with the pizza.
Yeah.
You remember them?
Yeah. We made friends with people.
And all of a sudden they showed up, and
they gave me pizza.
And that saved the day.
Mm-hmm. But then that just kind of gave me padding for more. And we actually went out to the bars after that too.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah. We were rock stars.
We were fun.
We were fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember going to the bars though. I vaguely remember walking, and I thought we got frustrated that we couldn't find a bar that was still open.
We
But
found one,
we did find one.
and then we went to some weird ones,
We
but
did.
that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that was a different one.
Yeah.
Any other good music stories for us?
Well, I mean, I've got tons of great music stories, but concerts, not that I can think of right now.
No, concerts, I think we're good
Huh.
there.
So I think the concert series is done for today.
Yeah,
And
but
we've got
you know,
some great things coming up the pipeline. We are going to be talking about all things Gen X,
yep.
and not necessarily just Gen X things, but things from our point of view. I think we have a great point of view. You and I are different.
We are absolutely different.
We see things differently.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're different, but we see things differently. But we're from a different generation, and I think that
they're actually calling us a different generation now. It's not. We're no longer Gen X. From 1977 to 1983, they're calling us something else because we are the first generation that basically we grew up without internet,
mm-hmm.
but then the first ones exposed to it. So
yeah.
I don't know what that term was.
Either way, we're Gen X, and I think honestly, I'm grateful for it. But
yeah,
that's kind of going to be the basis. We're going to give you from our points of view. We'd like some talking points,
and you know, just stuff we like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy. My wife loves music. Music is a big part of our life. We usually have music going 24/7 in this house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Until we meet again.
you guys have a great night.
Bye.